On Larry King Now, music mogul Akon.
I built my career off building other people's careers.
Why?
But I just always loved the concept of, collaborations, because it always expanded your brand bigger than you ever expected.
Lady Gaga, she was signed to multiple labels before you. Nothing was happening. What did you do that they weren't doing?
I just listened. And it's so simple because they know better than anybody what it is they're trying to represent and bring across. And all you have to do is become the support system and support that.
Part of your plan was to work with Michael Jackson.
Yeah, I did the Wanna Be Starting Something over. We did a couple unfinished records, one that's almost done.
You have something in house?
Might be.
Plus, you're married.
Yeah.
Are you monogamous in marriage?
No.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest is Akon, musician, songwriter, producer, activist, 5-time Grammy-nominated, multi-platinum selling artist. Akon has sold over 35 million albums worldwide. His name is attached to 45 Billboard Top 100 songs. He's collaborated with everyone from Michael Jackson to Whitney Houston to Lady Gaga and Lil Wayne. He's been named Billboard's Artist of the Year, the American Music Awards Best Male R&B Artist, has 3 World Music Awards to his name. Akon also notably holds the official record as the world's best-selling ringtone artist. And were it not for Akon, the world might never have known of Lady Gaga. How'd you get that name?
Well, it's actually a middle name. Middle names are often used. You have it and it just sits there, so I said I'm going to utilize this name if I'm going to get into entertainment.
What was your first name?
Aliun is my first name.
I like Akon better. You didn't want to be in the music business?
Well, it wasn't an idea. It was more of a hobby. Music was just very fun, and I never thought it would actually be something I would be doing from a career standpoint.
And you had some problems early on, right?
Oh,
you had some time in prison. We'll talk about that later. How did the rebound happen? You had a 10-year plan? When
I got out, I had a 10-year plan that I wrote when I was in there on what I planned to accomplish when I come out. The goal was to stay out of trouble and not come back into that environment. So I had to have a plan, not the trouble, So ultimately, that goal became, of course, I started convict music, which was supposed to be a concept that would rehabilitate convicts coming out and utilize the talent that they have. And it just sprung into this huge entertainment enterprise.
So before prison, no music was in your head?
No, definitely not in a way of making money from it. It was more as a hobby, yeah.
So what happened? What was your big break?
The big break actually was getting locked up, believe it or not, Larry.
Explain that.
Well, fortunately for me, my concept was always thinking big. And before getting locked up, my goal was to be rich by any means necessary. So
you robbed the bank. That's one means necessary.
That was a little too risky, but what was scary was that thought crossed my mind a couple times before. And ultimately it was like, okay, how do I do it and get away with it? And just made a lot of bad decisions. Ended up getting locked up, which saved my life.
What'd you get locked up for?
Actually, I got locked up for a stolen car and a concealed weapon.
How much time did you do?
I ended up doing 6.5 months for that. The judge was actually lighter on me. He saw the potential. So
how did was there a break? You're the first solo artist to simultaneously hold the #1 and #2 spots on the Billboard Hot 100. You wouldn't have guessed that for someone coming out of prison.
Absolutely not.
So what did it?
I think it was more of the drive and constantly recording, constantly, just working towards that plan to one day work with Michael Jackson and become the biggest artist in the world.
You didn't know him.
I didn't know him.
But you wanted to work with him.
That was at the top of my goal. I said, if I can shoot for the sky, at least. So
you set goals high.
Absolutely.
You are from Senegal?
Originally Senegal, West Africa.
Left there at what age?
I left there at 12. Yeah.
Came to the United States?
Came to St. Louis, Missouri, and been there until I moved into Florida, then to New Jersey.
Before we get into the whole music thing, tell me about this working to bring electricity to African homes.
That is one of my biggest dreams, really, to supply Africa with electricity. And I've always felt that the need for electricity there has been the biggest problem why the infrastructure itself hasn't
There's
been.
no electricity?
None in so many areas.
Really?
Yeah.
Senegal included?
Included. It seems like every major African country has electricity in the city, but then the rural areas are completely dark. And that's where the population really resides.
So how do you go about doing this?
Well, the biggest problem we realized it was more of a financial issue why those areas weren't lit up. So we had to find a solution. And we decided to go with solar energy, which would be the most cost-effective way to light up those rural areas.
Who's the we? Did you have an organization? Or?
Well, I have two partners that I'm involved with. One is Chon Young, he's also out of Senegal. Another one is Samba Bachili, who's out of Mali. And we're like very young entrepreneurs who just see the future for what we think Africa should be.
Have you brought some solar energy already?
Yes, we've lit up Mali, where we did an inauguration. And the reception of those people just confirmed that we need to be doing a lot more of this.
You're shooting for what, 1 million homes?
1 million homes by 2014.
How do people watching want to help?
Well, ultimately, you can log on to akonlightingafrica.com and get all the information on how you can be a part and be involved.
akonlightingafrica.com.
Yes.
The Obama administration, I'm told, has pledged $7 billion to bring electricity access to Africa. Are you working together?
Well, actually, we're looking to go meet with the Obama, and we're trying. That's another high goal that we're doing, but I figure when we start moving and you actually see that this is an actual initiative that's actually making a difference, someone from his organization hopefully will call.
Has the United States government done anything yet?
Not at the moment, no.
When was this pledge made?
This pledge was made 2.5 months ago.
So would you expect it to happen? Does he have to go through, that's in the budget then, right?
It's definitely in their budget.
Yeah, he has to get it approved. Well, one would think he'd want to sit down with you, or someone in the administration sit down with you to help accomplish this.
No, absolutely, that would be amazing.
Well, you've set goals very high. You think
Extremely.
this is going to happen?
The way we set the goals, we reached out to all the entrepreneurs that's in Africa, now and abroad, to come in and help on this, initiative. So, but the goal is to do a private partnership with the government, along with the people as well, too, to help move this initiative forward.
Have you been back a lot?
Yeah, I go back maybe 3 months, three times out the year.
Now, what is it like? Trying to picture what's it like to be without electricity. I mean, how do you function?
I don't think anyone can imagine that.
I can't.
The simplest, necessity is what we take for granted for here. But you got to understand, these people live and been living like that for years and are comfortable, really are content with that because that's all they know. So when you bring electricity to a small village like that and they actually see that it's actually real, the excitement is what,
Okay, that website again is Akon.
Lightingafrica.com.
Lightingafrica.com. We're talking to the record-breaking Akon. Up next, Akon reflects on two other artists known for shattering records, Michael Jackson, Lady Gaga. Stay with us. We're back with the extraordinary Akon. What a story. You're going to release an album this year?
Yeah, we're planning on releasing an album.
It's been 4 years?
It's been, almost 5.
Why? What have you been doing other than Lighting Africa?
Well, other than Lighting Africa, I've been just creating new acts, I built my career off building other people's careers.
Why?
I don't know. I just always loved the concept of, collaborations, because it always expanded your brand bigger than you ever expected.
You mentioned earlier, part of your plan was to work with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
How'd that come about?
Oh, man. It was the wildest thing. I just was driving my car one day and received a phone call from his attorney stating that Mike wanted to meet with me to work on the re-release of the Thriller album.
Had you already had a hit out? I mean, you were...
Yeah, at that time, I was pretty established.
So where'd you meet him?
I met him in Vegas, and I think we met at the Wynn Hotel. And everything is a production with Mike. Like, from the moment I walked in, he was facing backwards in the chair and spinning around.
He does that, yeah.
Right?
He's shy.
But I didn't realize just how much an amazing person he was, and hilarious. I mean, we laughed half the day.
He's also brilliant.
Yeah, no, he's a brilliant guy. I mean, for sure.
Now, I'm told that Brendan Howard, you know Brandon Howard?
Yeah.
He's coming out as Michael's son. Mm-hmm. Do you know that story?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with it. I honestly believe it.
Who's the mother?
I haven't met the mom yet.
But you believe, and who is Brandon Howard?
He's a young guy, entertainer, looks like Mike, sounds like Mike. You would thought it was Mike.
Really?
No, literally, and me knowing Mike's mannerisms, when I see him, I couldn't believe who it was.
Has he had any hits?
Not yet.
Will he? Well, this will make him get some hits.
I'm definitely give him some hits.
Where were you when you heard that Michael had died?
I was actually on a tour bus. I forgot what city we was going through, but I thought it was a joke at first. I honestly didn't believe it. You know, I thought it was just a joke. Like, Mike doesn't die, it's impossible.
What work did you do with Michael?
I did the Wanna Be Starting Something Over. We did a couple unfinished records, one that's almost done. But that record...
You have something in-house?
Might be.
Holding back something for me?
One day, hopefully I'll get a chance to release it.
So you've got him on tape?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's pretty newsy.
And we did Hold My Hand, which is a record that we did together, a compilation.
Hold My Hand?
Yeah.
Now, is Lady Gaga, would you call her a modern-day Michael?
She's definitely a modern-day legend, for sure.
She was signed to multiple labels before you. Nothing was happening. What did you do that they weren't doing?
I just listened. You know, sometimes with artists, you just have to listen to their vision. And it's so simple because they know better than anybody what it is they're trying to represent and bring across. And all you have to do is become the support system and support that.
What is her, she's been on the show when I was on CNN, she's a terrific girl.
No, amazing.
What is her talent?
Her talent, she's a visionary, man.
She's a great marketer.
No, amazing marketer. And she understands today's technology and how it affects and how it moves forward as well, too. So that's a huge tool for her.
What's your relationship with her now?
Oh, she's just like my little sister.
She really is.
Yeah,
Does she run her own label?
She practically runs her own career. She really does. She knows exactly what she wants and what she's doing.
So what do you do for her?
Me, I'm more of an advisor now than anything. So I'm available for whatever she needs.
You've been called R&B, hip-hop, dance. What is the Akon sound?
It's just world, international music. You know, I never really could find a genre that I can place myself in because I just do everything. I just love music in general, so I'm all over the place.
Do you enjoy as much collaborating with other artists as singing yourself?
Absolutely. The fun is the collaboration, believe it or not, you know? Because that experience alone, it just opens the door for so many other things to do. And it's just so fun.
See, you like to do everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You still have goals. A person who's a goal-oriented never stops having goals.
No, that's so true, man. That's so true. That's so true.
Other than electricity in Africa, what's a musical goal you still have?
Musically, honestly, after Michael Jackson, I felt that goal was done. The next goal now is to buy a Universal Music Group.
You want to buy the Universal Music Group?
Yeah.
Are they for sale?
Not yet, but they will be. Everyone has a price.
Are you going to have to put together a group, or do you have the bread?
I think it's going to be a mixture of both.
I would bet you're going to do it.
I promise you I will.
You are very goal-oriented. Up next, we're going to talk about the NFL's recent ban on the N-word. They haven't officially banned it yet. We'll find out what that means for music. We'll be right back. The NFL is banning the N-word, meaning if a referee hears someone use it on the field, friendly or argumentative or what, it's a 15-yard penalty. You agree with that?
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. That makes the sport a little more difficult.
What do you think? What do you think of the idea?
Well, I think it gives the word too much power. You know, I always felt that when you give words power, it becomes like our generation, we use it loosely in a basic, normal conversation. So it
Black
has
on black.
Black on black.
You don't
and
use it black
Hispanics
on white,
as well.
do you?
Hispanics also use it, and I got a couple white friends who also use it. Coming up in Jersey, even the Italians used it, but we never looked at it as a word of insult. Unfortunately, we just never did.
Really?
I think words, when you give it power, that's what it holds. You know, we just don't look at it that way.
What about it in music? It doesn't offend you in rap records and the like?
Nah, unfortunately, it doesn't offend me. I don't know if it's a bad thing to say it doesn't offend me, but it really doesn't offend me.
You know what it does to a lot of people.
Yeah, I know, but I think that's power that you give that that you can hold for yourself.
So you think the NFL in banning it is actually putting it forward?
It's only going to put it more forward. When you tell people not to do things, they do it even more.
When blacks use it in fellow company, it's done often complimentary, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like how you say your homie or my man. That's my.
You only did 6.5 months in jail, right?
Yep.
That's kind of a short term. But I hear
That's a
any
long
day in
time.
jail is terrible.
Man,
right?
listen, that's a long time. I don't care what no one tells you. One day is a long time. All you're doing is recycling it over and over and over for how many years they give you, but that's not nothing to play with.
You were in, what, prison or jail?
I was in a county jail. So prison, I think, is a longer term before you go.
Yeah, you had to do a year or more.
Yeah, but now the county's worse than this long stretch because there's
Where were
like
you?
you have
Where was the
something to
county?
prove. I was in DeKalb County in Atlanta, Georgia, and I forgot what county it was in New Jersey.
What was the worst thing about it?
The worst thing about it was not being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. It's the constraint of just not being able to move. It's the worst.
The United States is the largest jailer in the world. 25% of the world's prison population is in this country. And there's a lot of studies going now that maybe we're too quick to put people behind bars. Maybe there shouldn't be mandatory sentencing. What are your thoughts on the prison system?
Well, the prison system is, to me, is more of a business than it is actual
There are private
rehabilitation.
prisons now.
Yeah, you know, if it was more of a rehabilitational unit, then I think you'll see better results of people coming out. But it's set up for them to go right back in.
Do you think it's racist?
I definitely think it's racist, for sure.
More African Americans.
Oh yeah, more
More than
African
the size
American
of
and
the
Hispanics
population.
are, for sure.
What about marijuana legalized?
They should have did that a long time ago.
When you got out of prison, what was the first thing you did? How did you get a job? What did you do?
The first thing I did was go buy a double cheeseburger from McDonald's. You miss the food more than anything, man. That's the craving, you know? You know, then I went to go visit a couple friends, and I went straight to implement my plan.
What was the first thing you did to implement it?
Go to the studio and record the songs that I wrote while I was inside.
Did any of those songs become a hit?
Yep, Locked Up was written in there, Mr. Lonely, Ghetto, Trouble Nobody, I Wanna Love You, Don't Matter.
Did you get
Pretty much a lot of my early hits was all written in prison, yeah.
Did you get a lot of fights in jail?
Just got into two, you know.
How were you treated by the guards?
The guards loved me. I was always pretty cool with the guards. That's the first thing you do is make friends with the guards.
Because it ain't going to pay to be an enemy.
You don't want them to be your enemy.
You can't win.
You cannot win.
What do you think? How do you consider yourself? Are you hip hop?
I would say I was definitely brought up from the hip hop roots. You know, because even when I do pop records, it has to have that bottom in it. Got to have that 808, man.
You're a great example of the American dream coming true.
No, thank you, Larry.
You think you're a role model?
Role model? Whether I like it or not, I think I am. Yeah, for sure.
How old are you?
20 young.
What does that mean?
That means no matter how old I get, I'm always be young.
See, you could be 25 or 45.
I could be.
You can, you're not going to tell, right?
Absolutely not. That's the curse in this business, because the moment they know your age, the countdown begins. 10 years from that point, your career is over.
Are you money driven?
Nah, not at all. Used to be, though.
That's because.
Used to be. Now I'm not.
What's the drive now? You want to get electricity?
Now it's about a legacy now. It's about what did I do and how will I be remembered when it's over.
All right. Are you confident that you've been so successful in your goals that you will, for want of a better word, electrify Africa?
Absolutely.
Because you've electrified everything you've done.
Thank you, for sure.
Akon talks marriage in our final segment and answers some of your questions. Plus, if you only knew. We'll be right back. You made some comments recently suggesting that men are not meant to be monogamous. Want to elaborate on that?
Well, I was just speaking from an honest male's perspective, from me. I'm not going to speak for all men, but I know if all men were cloned to be me, I don't think it's possible.
You're married.
Yeah.
Are you monogamous in marriage?
No.
How does your wife handle that?
They just know it's me. I mean, she loves me for who I am.
Would it bother you if she were not monogamous?
Yes, it would.
So it's a double standard.
Actually, it's not, because men and women aren't the same. A woman just don't wake up one day and say, okay, well, I'm going to sleep with that guy. But a guy do wake up one day and say, I'm going to sleep with that woman.
You're the hero of a lot of men. And you have children?
Yeah.
Would you care if they grew up that way too? You wouldn't mind it.
Well, what I do, I try to teach them life, taking nature into account. I think a lot of rules are built without nature being taken into an account, and that's what creates the conflict.
We have some social media questions for you. Aaron Capture One, Facebook. Is Akon Lighting Africa reaching Sierra Leone?
Yes, we actually left Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone is one of the countries that we're lighting up.
Abdiel Abraham Gnabi via Facebook wants to know how many countries in Africa the project will benefit.
I think it's going to benefit every country we touch, but right now we're starting with 9, and then we're going to expand as those are done.
El Nino 410 via Twitter wants to know if you're still making money with Lady Gaga.
Unfortunately, I'm still making money.
Unfortunately or fortunately?
Well, it's kind of unfortunate because now it's such, it's really hard to explain, you know?
What do you mean?
It's one of those situations where I've got so engulfed by that, you know what I mean, that the opportunity was more important to me than that money.
You'd rather not be involved financially with her?
Yeah, I would prefer to be just more of a mentor than...
Because too much pressure?
Well, it's definitely a lot of pressure. It definitely is.
So with the money becomes demands?
It not only becomes demands, but it also puts a lot of tension between a relationship between the two because of that part of it.
You think it'll straighten out?
I think it will, for sure.
Bryson Knox on Facebook. What's your greatest accomplishment?
My greatest accomplishment was meeting Michael Jackson and working with him.
And via Facebook, Bradley Sola wants to know, what were you working on with Michael right before he died?
We was working on Hold My Hand.
Who wrote it?
I wrote and produced it.
We play a little game called If You Only Knew.
Gotcha.
Who's the first girl you ever kissed?
I can't remember her name.
Was it in Senegal?
It was actually, yeah, in Senegal.
So you were under 12.
Yeah, I know. We start early in Africa.
You live in LA, you live in Atlanta, right?
I live in Atlanta, yeah.
You like living in Atlanta?
I love Atlanta.
3 adjectives to describe you.
That's a good one.
Well, I'll guess one. Obviously, goal-oriented.
Yeah, I would say goal-oriented.
Risk taker?
Definitely.
Adventuresome.
You know me pretty well.
There's still some things I haven't figured out. Pet peeve?
Pet peeve?
What bugs you?
Liars.
Me too.
Yeah.
Band your fans would be surprised to learn you listen to?
Mumford & Sons. I love those guys.
Mumford & Sons.
Yeah.
Sounds like a clothing store. Biggest difference between Senegal and America?
The biggest difference between Senegal and America is electricity.
Would you rather time travel or space travel?
Space travel.
Up-and-coming artist you're most excited about?
Harley.
Celebrity crush?
Wow, that's a good one.
God, with you, there must be a multitude.
But that's the thing, it's really not. Oh, man.
Beyonce?
I can't say that. Even if it was, I wouldn't say that out of respect of Jay.
That makes me think of other things. Okay. Thing that keeps you up at night?
Business.
Guilty pleasure?
Porn.
What?
No, I'm just joking.
Anything you splurge on?
Huh?
What do you splurge on? Clothes?
Actually, cars. I spend too much money on cars.
You stole one and now you just buy them.
No, and exactly. I think that's what it was, the fact that I couldn't afford them before. Now that I can, I went overboard, man.
What's your latest car?
My latest car is a Tesla.
They're great.
I love those cars.
Whoa, they go fast.
No, they're amazing.
And they don't stop at gas stations. Who inspires you the most?
My dad.
If you weren't in the music industry, what do you think you'd be doing?
I'd probably be a detective.
A detective?
Yeah.
That comes from the prison experience.
Yeah, I kind of...
Now you want to catch them. Tell me something no one knows about you.
I'm a great chef.
Aha.
Yeah.
Any style of cooking?
I mean, I cook any and everything. I invent my own recipes.
You're a hell of a man, Akon.
You got it, buddy.
Thanks to my guest, Akon. You can learn more about his work in Africa at www.akonlightingafrica.com. Remember, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things. I'll see you next time.